I used to be an adventurer like you, until I took an arrow to the knee. I can't get through that without laughing. What's up, everybody? It is Dangeles, and welcome back to episode 145 of Constructing Los Angeles. I may have just used the most cliche thing in the history of video games, but I was just scrolling through the skin packs, and I saw the Whiterun Guard skin in the Skyrim Mashup Pack skin pack, and it just made me chuckle, and I had to do it, guys. I had to do it. So, welcome back, everybody. Let me go ahead and switch back to, the normal skin and turn my HUD on as well. Let's go ahead and get started. So, we're back for 145, everybody. We're going to continue working today, and I want to show you guys what I've been working on for the last day or so in preparation for this episode, and that is this right here. It's like this archway thing. It's kind of like three archways. The one in the middle is obviously taller and wider than the two on the sides, and this is going to be a theater of some sort. So, I had this cool idea to build, like a movie theater on the world, and it was requested a lot. But I decided to take it to another level, and I'm really gonna build more of like a Radio City Music Hall kind of thing, like a place where you could, I guess Broadway plays could be done, I guess, or whatever the terminology is. But that's what this is gonna be. It's just pretty much gonna be a huge auditorium, and kind of like on this block of the city, which is just, I gotta give props to this block of the city. It is survived 145 episodes of this series without, finally figuring out a purpose for it. So it's been like Mewtwo this whole time, trying to figure out its purpose in life, but it is finally has a purpose. It's going to be a one big old auditorium. So I have the start of it right here, pretty much laid out, and I'm going to work on it during this episode. So we're going to get to that in just a second. I want to just talk about this gas station right here. I'm most likely going to axe this gas station. I think I'm going to get rid of it. And the reason why is just because, first off, I think it's a little bit of an outdated design. I do still like the design on it. I really do. And I would be willing to rebuild it in a different spot on the map. It's just where it is right now is just not super ideal for what I'm looking for. So I'll probably move this gas station, kind of like just update the design. Like, for example, instead of having stone slabs in the roof, I'll put, like what are those things called again? Daylight sensors. Put the daylight sensors out there. I keep wanting to call them solar panels because they're changing them to make them look more like solar panels in the city texture pack. That's going to be one of the update features of TU20, which is crazy. We've got 20 TUs at this point, title updates. So I'll probably move this gas station over to this plot over here, which used to be a car dealership. And I don't want to get too close to that, because then we'll start to load the stadium in the background. And the stadium is top secret right now, everybody. It's top secret. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So what do I want to do with this? First off, I want to lay out like a perimeter for myself. That's the first thing I want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of some of this red blocks here, and obviously this is where the modded controller, really would have reaped its benefits or whatever. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, rest in peace from modded controller. Rest in peace. But anyway, welcome back, everybody, to CLD 145. We have a question of the day coming up in a few minutes. I also want to talk about some other things as well while I work on this big building here. So this is going to be a building that's probably going to take a little bit of time to build and kind of plan out, but I think it'll be cool when it's done. The goal is just to add a lot of detail to it, and this is probably going to be like the last major building that I start on Xbox 360. I might even just wait to finish it on Xbox One, depending on how things go, because there's like I have a certain idea of when I want to switch over to Xbox One for this series, and that's going to be after the stadium is done, no doubt, because I definitely want to have the stadium in the download for the 360 version of it. So that's something that I'm definitely interested in doing. So first thing I need to do here is I need to figure out what I want to do for this lobby. So basically, when I'm thinking about designing a building like this, I want to have a really big lobby here, kind of with a super tall ceiling as you walk underneath of these archways. And then obviously there's going to be some double doors right up front with maybe some admission area on the sides, and maybe some restrooms and assorted other rooms. And then, straight ahead pretty much will be the auditorium wall, which will pretty much run all the way down to the edge of this plot over here. So that's what kind of my plan is for this. So I just have to decide to myself what is a good spot to, I guess, cut off this point. So I'm thinking like, I'm just going to ballpark it. I'm going to say like right here is probably a good spot. I can take this across as our like front, area. I mean, it might be a little bit different, but my goal is that I want to have these archways on the inside as well, and then have like a really tall ceiling here with a chandelier coming down that you may or may not want to swing from at some point. So yeah, this seems like a pretty decent sized room. So I'm happy with this. Let's go ahead and start to put in this this chiseled quartz blocks down. Let's put these down. Did I say chiseled? I meant pillared. You know how it is, guys. Misspeaking with the blocks all the time. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna place this right here. And this is gonna be our 4x4 pillar of quartz, which is gonna go all the way up. So anyway, guys, I would like to just quickly apologize for not having a video up for the last 2 days. I've started back up school. I'm back in my semester now, so my schedule's a little bit weird this semester, and it's taken me a few days to kind of adjust to, what I have to do with school and, the time I have allocated to make YouTube videos. So it's been a little bit of a tricky adjustment, something that I didn't really anticipate being as hard as it would be, since, I had to change up my schedule a little bit. So just want to let you guys know that, I don't plan to have random days where I just, don't upload, very often. I still want to keep, a good schedule. Just wanted to, quickly address that. Again, no big deal, but yeah, it hurts me when I like making videos, and when I go a 2 or 3 days without doing videos, when I could be, it's frustrating for me because it's I just like doing it, and it always makes me sad when I get tweets sent at me saying where's your video today and stuff like that. It's just I feel like I'm letting somebody down. So that's something that I always try to avoid, but in this case, a little bit unavoidable. I also had a couple of technical difficulties last few days trying to get some videos out that were really frustrating. So yeah, I'm not even really going to go into that because it's just kind of a sad topic for myself. But I just want to let you guys know that you don't have to worry about anything in terms of just random stuff coming out. Just 2 days of no videos, which is kind of crazy for me, since I've been kind of holding this pretty consistent agenda of uploading every day, so for pretty much ever since my channel started. So it's kind of weird when I don't. So again, nothing too crazy, but I just wanted to address that real quick just in case anybody was worried. Just had a couple of personal issues to take care of as far as school went, so no big deal. Hopefully it'll all be sorted out in the future. Anyway, so what I'm kind of trying to build now, and I'm not gonna do the whole thing right now because I do already have a little bit of it built, so it's not necessary for me to build the whole thing right now. But I am really starting to kind of take that pillar design that I have out front, which is I started building that first because I wanted to kind of give myself a visualization for this episode, and I'm really going to be building the exact same thing in here with a huge opening that's going to lead down into the auditorium here. So I think this is going to be pretty cool. I want to have multiple levels to it, so kind of anything it's a standard, opera hall or whatever. I don't really know what the word is. What do you call those things? Do you call them auditoriums, or is there a fancier way of an amphitheater? Well, it's not really an amphitheater. It's not outside. So I don't know. Whatever the terminology is. Again, I'm not an expert on this kind of stuff. So whatever the terminology is what this is. It's what I plan to make it. So yeah, I'm going to figure that out though, because I can't just keep calling. I'm just going to call it a movie theater for now. That's just silly, but that's what I'm going to call it for now. And I was thinking about even doing making it a multi-purpose complex, and having a big auditorium in the middle for shows and plays and musicals or whatever, and then having movie theaters themselves on the sides because there's so much space on this plot. I was also thinking about that as a possibility, which I think would be cool. And I was also, I got to replace these as well with some pillared quartz block. Again, this roof design that I've started fiddling with is totally, unfinished, and it's not a final product at all. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do with this roof here. And I built with sand, which again, sometimes I regret building with sand because it's a pain in the butt. If you don't build with sand if you have the option not to, because I don't know why, I just like the way it looks, and it kind of mixes it up for me in terms of colors, and getting away from that gray that I don't really like. So sand is good for me. I want to start using more of the stained clay as well. So as you can see, I started to put some blue stained clay over here. Not so sure about that, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I wanted to get to the question of the day before I got too sidetracked any further. So we're going to get to today's question of the day. And today's question comes from Marco Delaval. Oh, gosh. Hopefully I didn't botch your name too bad. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, Marco's question is CLD question of the day. What is your favorite series you've made on your main channel? Question mark. Thanks! Exclamation point. All right, so thank you for that question, Marco. Sorry if I messed up your last name. I'm really apologize about that. That always makes me nervous because it's I was just raised in the way I respect people's last names. So it's whenever I don't know how to pronounce someone's last name, is always gets me really nervous because it's I don't want to offend them or any way, and it's just I just think it's kind of disrespectful. But, you know, I'm sorry about that if I messed it up. But anyway, let's not dwell on that too long. Let's actually just answer the question, which I'm sure is what, you know, you guys actually want me to do. So, to answer the question, what was my favorite series on my main channel? Ooh, that's a good one. Because I think I chose this question for CLD because it's not an obvious answer. You think it would be, but it's not. You know, you'd think I would just answer CLD, right? Because that's like my most popular series, not necessarily my favorite. And I'm going to answer this question in terms of my favorite to record, not necessarily, you know, my favorite, you know, series that I've like thought of. I would say CLD is probably not my favorite series to record, in all honesty, just because it does get a little repetitive for myself. Although it is a great deal to just, you know, turn on a mic and talk for 20 minutes and do some building. It's a great deal, but sometimes it does get a little bit repetitive. I will definitely admit that. I guess my favorite series that I've ever recorded, it just has to be something with my friends, no doubt about it. Like, that's always everything is more fun when you're doing it with your friends. You know, that's just how I feel. So I would say probably Survival Shenanigans is my favorite series I've ever recorded on my main channel. Obviously the Survival series where we kind of just goofed around and just did silly stuff on camera. I thought that was just an absolute blast. Obviously we don't do as much anymore because my friends are a little bit busy, so... but you know, that's the kind of that series was just really fun to do. But as far as my favorite series in terms of like my best idea that I've had on my channel, you know, I would actually go with CLD on that one because I'd say CLD is no doubt my best idea. Well, mainly for the fact of how much continuity it has. You know, we've been doing CLD for over a year. It's been like a year and a half. Well, let's see. Let me think about this. We started in the 9th month of 2013, September, and we are now in the first month, almost to the end of the first month of 2015. So it's been like you know, a good solid 15 months, 15, 16 months almost since we started CLD, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah, it's got a lot of continuity. It's, you know, it's lasted the whole time. Obviously, you know, I wouldn't be still recording CLD if I didn't enjoy recording it. So then that's something that I think, you know, is interesting to think about because it's like every single series that I do on my channel, I do it because I like it. You know, I would never, it's not how the way I work. I would never record a series that I hate. Like, let's say for example, I started recording a new series, and it got really, really popular. Like, everybody really liked it, but I didn't enjoy recording it. I wouldn't continue it just for that main reason. And, you know, that's just how I feel. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, record something if I don't like it. And I love CLD. Sometimes it does get a little bit repetitive for me, you know, doing the episodes, but as far as like the idea of the series itself, it doesn't get much better. So I'd say there's kind of like two ways to answer that question. I think I did a pretty good job answering it. Sometimes I don't do a very good job answering these questions, but hopefully I did a good enough job for you, Marco. Thanks for the question. And of course, you guys can leave your question of the day comments in the comment section below. Obviously, that's what the comment section is for. And you can also send them to me on Twitter as well. If you have a Twitter, that is absolutely fine. I get most of them from Twitter because it's just easier because they just pop right up my feed, and usually the ones on Twitter are, you know, pretty interesting questions. Not saying that the ones on the comment section aren't. It's just usually the Twitter ones are a little bit better. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. Yeah, so we're gonna kind of just continue to fill this in, and what I want to do is once we kind of have this room in here, right? And this is gonna be cool because this is gonna be like the entrance to the room. And I might even have some elevators on the sides here that take you up to the other levels, potentially. And then obviously I can have like a ticket box over here as well. So another thing I want to do is actually start to roll out the red carpet, more or less. I'm going to make like a, you know, kind of a floor design in here. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to use for the floor because I want it to be something good, but something that's not like too crazy. Like cobblestone would work just as like a simple floor, but it does match the walls as well. So maybe we'll avoid cobblestone. I could use just, you know, what are they called? Well, I could use these and just have them like this, like have this be the floor, like just, you know, that might actually look pretty good. Actually, let's just see how that looks. It might be a lot of quartz, which I, you know, try not to do too often, but it might look good. In fact, I'm just realizing that I have to, like, because of the way quartz places now, I would have to place something underneath of it. So yeah, you know what? Let's not do that. That's too much work. How about just wood? I want to maybe even spruce wood. I know spruce wood is weird in this texture pack, but in this particular case, it does match the sand pretty well, and it even does match quartz decently. Heck, I use spruce wood pretty effectively in the Alpine Mansion. Maybe we can find a way to revive it here. Let's give it a chance, all right, before we just write it off. How about that, everybody? All right, so I don't want to fill this whole floor in right now because it's just weird. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest, like, I guess off camera, or I'll just do it later. I don't really need to do the whole thing right now. So let me just kind of just fill this in real quick, just a little bit more, and then we can get to like the red carpet. I just want to get to the middle. That's really all I want to do right now, because I don't know. I want to have like a carpet that runs like straight down the middle here. So let's see if we place some red wool, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that's perfect. So we'll do a 5 block wide carpet. So this carpet's going to kind of just run all the way through here. And I'm going to connect it right to the road. I mean, why not? I'm probably going to put a parking garage underneath of this building. So I'll probably do that. I have a lot of plans to do parking garages underneath buildings, like pretty much throughout the entire city. But that's because it's realistic, first off, and there's not space for like parking above ground except for the stadium. So this is going to be good. I like this idea. I just kind of have to kind of refine it and just add detail to it, but I like this idea as an idea itself. So obviously this red carpet is going to run straight into the theater room, so it'll go right in, and then you'll have like steps on each side, and it'll be like multi-leveled, and then the stage will be down here somewhere, and this is going to be really cool. So it's going to be a big building, no doubt about it, but I think the potential of it is pretty cool. So I need to fix up this roof area and add some detail to that. And I got to pick a name for it as well. So obviously you guys can help me out with that. But I think that's pretty good. So let me just go ahead and break this real quick. Do I want to add like another? Nah, I'm just going to go like this. So I also have to figure out some windows on the side here. That would be ideal. Let me see here. Let me put some cobblestone down right there. A little bit of frame rate lag here and there. All right. Thinking while trying to build. The challenges of CLD, everybody. All right, so let's take this across here, and let's kind of just take this up one extra level so I can kind of get a good idea of what this is going to look like. Yeah, I have an idea in my head, but it's kind of hard to do it right now because it's a lot of tedious work, and that's what the city is, a lot of tedious work. But okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have like the ceiling get really tall right here in the middle. This archway is going to connect here. Obviously, it already does there. It's going to connect here, and then it's going to connect across the middle here as well. And then there's going to be a tall skylight ceiling here, and then on the side it'll start to like flatten itself out and just become just like a normal ceiling. And I might not even extend it all the way out. I might just make it like, because this is a big plot, and putting a whole building on this plot is like crazy. So it might not take up the whole plot. I might leave some side on each side to put some trees, some space on each side, not some side on each side. That's totally redundant. Yeah, so I might leave some space on the side to add some trees like this one over here. So that's definitely a good plan. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude today's episode. Just gonna keep it short for today, guys. But the idea is here. I just need to kind of do the tedious stuff and kind of fill it in. So I'll come back at you guys next time, and this thing will be much more developed, and then we'll start to work on the auditorium part of it, which is gonna be over here. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. Give it a like if you did enjoy it. Leave your question of the day, some missions in the comment section below. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out.